Hey guys, this is Brian, and today I'm bringing you guys a video on what I think is a sleeper deck for the current format, and that is Pendulum Magician. So recently, with the release of Dual Overload, we've got access to links that we didn't have before, including Halqifibrax, Union Carrier, and some more Bird of Sovereignty. And I think because of these links being introduced into the TCG, Pendulum Magician is able to recreate the unbreakable boards that it used to. Now understand that a lot of people have accepted that Pendulum Magician is not the greatest Pendulum format. As of right now, the Endymion version is the most popular, the pure Endymion version with the Spellbook engine and the Mythical Beast engine. And more so now with Selene, Queen of the Master Magicians being also released in Dual Overload, it's been the main talk as the main version to play for Pendulum. However, I think that because of Halqifibrax, just that card alone makes Pendulum Magician a very formidable deck. Now before we get into the actual deck and the sample combos I'll be going through, I want to explain why exactly this deck is really powerful. So the main reason for why it's so powerful is because it has such an easy way to access the Apex Avion lock. For those who don't know, the Apex Avion lock is when you summon Mist Valley Apex Avion through using the Bird of Sovereignty link and using Union Carrier to equip Mist Valley Thunderbird from your deck onto the field, allowing you to use those two cards to infinitely negate anything that activates. All that you need to access this combo is Steam the Cloak, and Steam the Cloak can be summoned off of Halqifibrax, and Halqifibrax is easily accessible in Pendulum Magicians because it has Harmonizing Magician. Harmonizing Magician has 6 other cards in the deck that can search it, so it has incredible consistency to access Halqifibrax. On top of that, if you open decent extenders, and when I say decent extenders I mean 2 scales and 1 extra monster, you can also summon either a Cybers Quantum Dragon or an Avramax onto your side of the field to stop your Mist Valley Thunderbird from being destroyed by battle, and not to mention that on top of all this you will almost always have a Vortex Dragon on the field. So you have an infinite negate loop with the Apex Avion, you have a way to prevent your Thunderbird from being destroyed, and you have an extra negate on top of it. And all that is required is access to Halqifibrax. Now moving on to the deck profile, I'll be going through a sample deck list that you guys can use to make use of Pendulum Magicians, Steam the Cloak, and Halqifibrax. So it's a 40 card list, 15 card extra deck. 3 of the extra deck cards is actually quite flexible, so feel free to make any changes that you feel necessary. And the other 12 extra deck cards I believe are mandatory for the combos that you can do with this deck. I won't have a side deck because at the moment the format is quite undefined. So let's start off with the main deck. So the first 3 cards we have 3 Steam the Cloak. He is the best normal summon. Just the normal summon of Steam the Cloak by itself is like the full combo, and it will end on at least the Infinite Negate board. So 3 Steam the Cloak's really good. Also you can pen summon him, so then you can make even more use out of him without using your normal summon. And he's a level 3 tuner, which is really convenient because it helps you make some of your synchros. Next off we have 3 Supreme King Darkworm. So this is your second best normal summon after Steam the Cloak. You want to summon him whenever you can if you don't have Steam because it's a +1. It also has a scale effect, so if you have no monsters, you can put him in the scale, and he will scale the next card, which is one of the 2 gate zeros, for free. Just keep in mind, it does lock you onto Darks for your Pendulum summon, so keep that in mind when you do this. But yeah, this is the best engine that you can use. It's one of the better extenders because you can play Dragon Shrine and Foolish Burial, and access to this plus Steam the Cloak is a combo on its own. So definitely one of the best extenders in the deck. Now we're on to the Magician package. Of course, the best Magician, Harmonizing. So she does everything, right? Because she is the tool guide for the deck. On Pendulum Summon, you can summon out another Pendulum Magician from your deck. She's a tuner, so she gets you to a Halqifibrax. By herself, she is a Halqifibrax, just on the pen summon of just her. She's also a level 4, so it's really easy to make rank 4s, really easy to make synchros level 8, level 7, also summons out level 7s from your deck to make the absolute dragon easier. So she's very flexible and you definitely need to play 3 of them. Next up we have some consistency cards. We've got the 3 Wisdom Eye to help you get to your scales. Nothing more to say about him. He's a bit awkward with Pendulum Call, but worst case is you can just discard it off the Pendulum Call. So Pendulum Call is like the only card that this conflicts with, but that's fine, because you just want to max out on your consistency. Next is, we play 2 of the Performer Power Celestial Magician. He's a new one in the latest Legendary Duelist set. So what he does is, if you control other Pendulum monsters when this is summoned, he can search you any Pendulum monster on your end phase, so it helps you keep your resources in your hand. The next effect, which is the most important one, is if you control a Synchro monster, your opponent cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn. So he's really good at helping you break through boards if your opponent isn't aware. It forces out negates. It's also a decent high scale because usually you play Black Fang for your high scale. So this guy's a little bit better than Black Fang because he's more useful in the normal summon. Next up, for some of the grind games, you want to play 2 Oath Dragon to recur some of your resources. You also have 2 Purple Poison to help you go second. So pretty good ratio in my opinion. Your low scale of choice will always be the Oath Dragon, so you can keep recurring your resources, but it's always good to have Purple Poison in your deck because you can't always go first. Next we have the one-offs. We got 1 Black Fang. He's not as good anymore because it doesn't really achieve anything going first, other than just being a high scale and a level 4, so it's a pretty average card. Going second is okay, helps you recur some resources from the grave, also helps you beat over big monsters. But overall you don't really need him as much because now you have Celestial, which is a better scale 8. The other scale 8 that you play is a level 7 Dragon Pit, so he's like MST for your deck, searchable. Definitely play him so he helps you out random floodgates. But yeah, more importantly, it is a level 7 to help you make your Vortex Dragon. Same thing with Shanko Magician. So this can be a Dragon Caller Magician as well. I just needed a low scale that is a level 7 because sometimes you need to Wisdom Eye one of these 2 scales and then summon it off of the Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. So you definitely need to play at least one of each. This I preferred over the Dragon Caller, even though it kind of conflicts because this is scale 3 whereas Dragon Caller is a scale 2. But it has a negate on light monsters, so that does come up. It's a little bit better utility. And the last Magician, which is not a brick, is Time Gazer Magician. So typically you will play Chronograph Sorcerer, but in my build I don't play it because Chronograph Sorcerer doesn't achieve what this deck wants to do, which is get to Harmonizing Magician and then pen summon Harmonizing Magician. So Chronograph is just more bricks in your hand. It just summons an extra monster for free, but like it's a 1-for-1. It's not a +1 like Darkworm or Steam is. So you don't need to play the Chronograph in this deck. He's really good because sometimes you get the hands where you pen summon Steam and Harmonizing Magician, and you summon him out to get to Cyber's Quantum Dragon. So he's really good. So that's all the Magicians. The last 2 monsters, 1 Apex Avion for the negates, and 1 Mist Valley Thunderbird to help for the infinite negates. Moving on to the spells. Play 3 Dragon Shrine, 1 Foolish Burial, just access to Darkworm because Darkworm plus any tuner is like the full combo. Darkworm plus Steam the Cloak is the full combo as well. And just access to Darkworm guarantees you that level 7 to make Vortex with. Then we play 6 copies of Pendulum Call. Typically speaking, you don't want to play so many, but because of how powerful just Resolving Harmonizing Magician is, it is worth playing more copies of Hard Ones per turn cards just to see Harmonizing Magician. Not to mention that these cards are really good with Supreme King Darkworm, because you can discard the Darkworm off the pen call and those 2 cards is like a full combo by itself as well. So yeah, definitely wouldn't cut it. I wouldn't play any of the Pendulum Grasp because you clog up your spell and trap zone, so your Samog Link won't be able to summon the Apex at the end of the turn. Then the last 3 cards for consistency, for drawing, 3 Allure, 1 Upstart Goblin. You can play Pot of Desires if you like as well, but then you risk banishing your Apex Avion and then your boards become a little bit more mediocre. Moving on to the extra deck. 1 Halqifibrax, really powerful card right now. So you have 12 stars to get to him with the Harmonizing, 3 Pen Call, 3 Duelist Alliance, and 3 Steam the Cloak, so it's really consistent to get to him. And if you resolve him, then you guaranteed the full board. To help with the full board, you have the 1 Union Carrier, of course, to equip the Thunderbird to your Samog Link, which summons out your Apex Avion. And then to finish off your board to protect your board, you have the 1 IP Masquerena and the Avramax. If you can't get into the IP Avramax, you can make a Cyber's Quantum Dragon instead. It achieves a similar thing. They both protect the little bird from battle. And also this one is slightly stronger because it also stops the rest of your board from being targeted, so it is nice. But it just depends on your hand which one of these you want to go into. Sometimes you brick and you only draw Steam the Cloak, so you need some cards to help you make a board with Steam the Cloak. So these are the 3 cards. So you got the Almirage, Linkuriboh, and Cross Sheep to help you make your board if you don't see Harmonizing, but you do see Steam. So these are the best cards to do your extender. The idea with Cross Sheep is that you summon him using the Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon as link material, and then you summon your Vortex Dragon underneath him, and then you will trigger Cross Sheep's effect to summon back Steam from your grave. Then the Odd Eyes package, 1 Odd Eyes Meteorverse, 1 Absolute Dragon, and 1 Vortex Dragon. So he will summon out a level 7 from your scale to overlay into this one, which you make cross sheep with, and then you link this away to summon out the vortex. Sometimes you can also tribute this with the steam, so then you can summon this and keep your monster advantage up. And the last 3 cards I'm just using as a sample. I'm playing 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Boral Sword, and 1 Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. So these 3 can be anything you want. This deck doesn't have too much trouble pushing for damage because a lot of the monsters it makes is already really big. I like having the Boral Sword because it's an easy lethal. He's a easy to access Raigeki, so then you can use this in the grind game to clear out your opponent's board when they don't expect it. Helps you out Boral Load too, which sometimes can be a problem. And then sometimes obviously you do completely brick and you draw 2 low scales, a dead card, and 2 level 4s, so you just make Dweller and hope that's enough for the time. So that is the deck profile. And let's move on to some combos. So for the first combo is when you have hands where you just completely brick, you draw 4 unplayable cards and Steam the Cloak. So it happens when you have something like 4 low scales and a Steam the Cloak, and you can't really do anything other than either set 1 pass or normal summon Steam. So if this goes uninterrupted, at least you will make some kind of a board that your opponent has to kind of work to get rid of. So the way it works is that you normal summon the Steam the Cloak, and you link him away to summon out the Avimirage. Steam will activate to summon out a token. Then you will use Steam's effect in the grave to tribute the Avimirage to summon him back. Then you use these 2 to link away into a Halqifibrax. Chainlink 1 Steam the Cloak because it's mandatory, unfortunately, and then Chainlink 2 Halqifibrax to summon out Steam the Cloak from your deck. We do play 3, so you'll always have this as an option to summon. And then you get the token. Then you will link these 2 away to make your Smorg, link, and you'll get another token from this Steam the Cloak because it's not hard once per turn. Then you can link off these 2 tokens because they're the same attribute to summon out your Union Carrier. Union Carrier will equip the Thunderbird from your deck, and then during the end phase, Smorg will summon out your Apex Avion. So this is just a simple 1-card combo if you completely brick with just Steam the Cloak to make an infinite negate board. The next combo we have is Steam the Cloak and Dragon Shrine. So this is what I've been talking about, the Steam the Cloak and Darkworm. There's a lot of ways that you can do this as well, but I'm just using Dragon Shrine because this is like the most easiest way to do it. So the way it works is you activate the Dragon Shrine to send the Darkworm to grave, and then summon Darkworm using its own effect. He will activate to add the Gate 0 to your hand. Now you can scale the Gate 0 and normal summon Steam. You will link these 2 off. Remember your Darkworm goes to the extra deck here to make your Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. Chainlink 1 Steam the Cloak, Chainlink 2 Odd Eyes Meteor Burst to summon. Then you can overlay these 2 to make your Absolute. Then you link away your Absolute Dragon and the token to make your Cross Sheep. Absolute Dragon effect, summon out Vortex. Cross Sheep effect triggers, summon out Steam the Cloak. So this is the basic setup on how to do it. If you have a Pendulum summon at this point with your 2 scales, then you can summon out the Darkworm that is in your extra deck at the moment into the zone, and then you can make a Halqifibrax with these 2 and make a bigger board. But let's say that you don't have access to Halqifibrax, you completely bricked, so you can link these off into the Halqifibrax, and then Halqifibrax effect as Chainlink 2, and then Steam the Cloak Chainlink 1. Give yourself a token and summon out another Steam from your deck. Then you can link these 2 for your Smorg link, summon out another token, and then you link the 2 tokens off to make your Union Carrier. Union Carrier will equip Thunderbird, and then end phase Smorg will summon your Apex. So here you have the infinite negate board and a Vortex Dragon off of 2 cards, and you didn't even pen summon. This next combo I want to show you guys is a Pendulum Magician's player's favorite hand, Pen Call Darkworm. We activate the Pen Call, discarding the Darkworm to the grave to add Harmonizing Magician and a high scale. It can be any high scale. Then Darkworm we activate in grave to summon, and then he will add our Gate 0. Next we will scale these 2. So this is assuming that we have no other extenders and the rest of our hand is unplayable. Of course, if you had a playable hand, this would be a lot bigger. So we will pen summon out the Harmonizing, and Harmonizing will summon out any level 4. Has to be a level 4. Then we can link summon using Harmonizing and the Supreme King Darkworm to summon out Halqifibrax. And Halqifibrax effect will summon out Steam the Cloak. We'll use Steam in the level 4. Remember to banish the level 4 to summon out Odd Eyes. Chainlink 1 Steam the Cloak, Chainlink 2 Odd Eyes. Odd Eyes will summon out the Gate 0, and Steam the Cloak will summon a token.
Now we can overlay these two to make our Absolute Dragon. Then we'll use Steam's effect to tribute the Odd Eyes to summon itself back. Odd Eyes will activate and summon out Vortex Dragon. Next, we will link these two off for our Samorg link to summon out another token. And then the two tokens for our Union Carrier. Again, we've seen this before. Union Carrier gets Thunderbird, and then end phase summon out Apex Avion. 2-card combo to get to this board. For this combo, it's going to be a variation on the combo I just showed previously. So it's still going to be Pen called Darkworm, but an extra card in your hand will be a high scale. So the high scale can be any high scale, and it can also be an Oath Dragon Magician, because we'll be adding that to our hand. We'll activate the Pen Core, discarding the Darkworm, to add our Harmonizing and our Oath Dragon. Like I said, if you already had the Oath Dragon, you can add any high scale. Now we'll activate Supreme King Darkworm to summon, and then he will add the Gate 0 to our hand. Here we normal summon our Harmonizing Magician, and we'll use these two to link summon into our Halqifibrax. Halqifibrax effect, summon out Steam the Cloak. Make sure you summon him in a zone that doesn't have an arrow pointing to it. Then we will scale our two Magicians. I'll just put them over here, and use Oath Dragon's effect to add the Harmonizing back to our hand. Now we'll pen summon the Harmonizing, the Gate 0, and the Darkworm. Make sure that you summon the Gate 0 onto the arrow, or the level 7 that you're summoning out of your deck. So the level 7 I'm choosing is Janky Magician when you activate Harmonizing effect. Next, I'm going to overlay these two to make our Absolute Dragon. Then I'm going to link away the Halqifibrax and the Steam the Cloak to make our Samorg link, and then our Steam will summon out a token. Then we'll use Steam's effect to tribute our Odd Eyes to make the Vortex Dragon. So from here we have plenty of material to make our Union Carrier and our Avimax. What I like to do is to change the token into a Linkuriboh first, because it's always good to have access to our Linkuriboh. Then we'll use Linkuriboh and Darkworm for our Union Carrier because they're both dark. Union Carrier's effect will activate to equip the Thunderbird, and then we can use these two to make our IP Masquerena. And then the Steam the Cloak will activate to give us a token, which we can tribute for the Linkuriboh, so we can have an extra layer of battle protection. This is actually quite important because your Avimax can't stop the little bird from being destroyed by battle from a normal summon monster. It has to be only a special summon. And then during the end phase, your Samorg Link will summon out the Apex Avion. During your opponent's turn, during their main phase, you will IP Masquerena and use the Union Carrier and itself to summon out the Avimax. So this way your opponent can't attack over this with a special summon monster, they must attack into the Avimax, and it's just really annoying to out because you have the IP effect to stop it from being destroyed. So here I'm going to show you guys an example of a combo where you don't have good scales, but you do have access to Harmonizing and Steam the Cloak. So this is a hand where you don't have a really good normal summon, because the hand is good enough for you to summon out the Harmonizing, but not worth just normal summoning Steam the Cloak for the first combo that I showed. So the assumption on this hand is that you have two scales, it can be anything, and an extra random card. Obviously the random card will be different if it's a level 7. If it's a level 4, then it's like whatever. So the card I'm going to be using is a Purple Poison, it's just a level 4. If you have a level 7 for your scale, then you'll be able to get to Vortex, but this is a case where we can't get to Vortex at all. So the way that this will work is that we're going to pen summon out all of our hand, and then use Harmonizing's effect. Harmonizing will summon out our Time Gazer, a little brick boy. So he's quite good in this case because he's a level 3, specifically because he's level 3. We will link these two to get our Halqifibrax. Chain link 1, Steam the Cloak. Chain 2, Halqifibrax. Next, we will use the Harmonizing and the Time Gazer. Make sure to banish the Time Gazer to make our Cyber's Quantum Dragon. Then we will link Halqifibrax and the Steam to make our Samorg Link. Steam will activate again to give us a token, and then we can use these two tokens into Union Carrier. Union Carrier activate for the Thunderbird, and then end phase, this will activate, summon out Miss Valley. So this is a case where you completely brick, but you have Harmonizing and Steam the Cloak, so at least you will have the infinite negate loop plus protection for the little bird after you summon it back off a single negate.
Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. Make sure you guys check out our sponsors at chaoticfactory.com.au. You can use our discount code JONGO5 for 5% off all Yu-Gi-Oh single purchases.